China has just rejected 150,000 tons of American beef worth over $1 billion. And guess who swooped in to take advantage? Russia! In a shocking move, Russia seized a $1.2 billion market in the blink of an eye. What does this mean for American farmers? And for you when buying meat at the grocery store? Stay until the end because this is going to affect you directly. Let me explain exactly what happened. Just a few days ago, China made a decision that left everyone stunned. They rejected 150,000 tons of beef coming from the United States. Yes, you heard right, 150,000 tons. That's enough beef to fill thousands of shipping containers and feed millions of people. This beef was supposed to go to China, one of the biggest markets for used beef exports. But instead, China said no thanks and turned their backs on American farmers. So, what happened to all that beef? Russia stepped in like a hawk, grabbing the opportunity and taking over a market worth $1.2 billion. This isn't just a small deal, this is a massive shift in global trade. And it's sending shockwaves through the U.S. economy, the meat industry, and even the dinner tables of everyday people like you and me. Why would China, a country that loves beef and has been buying tons of it from the U.S., suddenly say no to 150,000 tons? There are a few big reasons, and they all point to a mix of politics, trade wars, and some health concerns. First, let's talk about trade tensions. For years, the U.S. and China have been in a back-and-forth battle over trade. The U.S. has put tariffs, basically taxes on Chinese goods, like electronics and clothes, to try to pressure China into changing some of its trade practices. But China doesn't just sit back and take it. They fight back by hitting where it hurts, and this time, they targeted American farmers. By rejecting this huge shipment of beef, China is sending a clear message. If you mess with us, we'll mess with you. There's also a health angle to this story. China has been cracking down on food imports lately, saying they want to make sure everything coming into their country is safe. They've pointed to things like growth hormones used in U.S. beef production, which are banned in China. Some reports say China found issues with the beef-like traces of chemicals or hormones they do and allow, and used that as an excuse to reject the shipment. Whether that's the real reason or just a cover for their trade war tactics, we can't say for sure. But one thing is clear. China's decision has left U.S. farmers in a tough spot. And here's the kicker. China didn't just reject the beef and walk away. They turned around and opened the door for Russia to step in. That's right, while U.S. farmers are left scrambling, Russia is cashing in big time. Enter Russia, the unexpected winner in this beef battle. While the U.S. was busy dealing with China's rejection, Russia saw an opportunity and jumped on it. Russia has been trying to get into the Chinese beef market for years. Back in 2020, China started allowing Russian beef producers to export to their country, but it was a slow process. Russia didn't have the same massive beef industry as the U.S., so they couldn't compete on the same level until now. With the U.S. out of the picture, Russia moved fast. They offered to take the beef that China rejected, and they also stepped up their own exports to fill the gap in the Chinese market. So, how big is this win for Russia? Let's talk numbers. The market that Russia just seized is worth $1.2 billion. That's billion with a B. To put that into perspective, that's enough money to buy about 24 million cows, or to fill over 2,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools with beef. It's a massive deal, and it's a huge boost for Russia's economy, especially at a time when they're facing their own challenges, like sanctions from Western countries. For American farmers, this news is nothing short of a disaster. The U.S. beef industry relies heavily on exports to keep things running. In 2023, the U.S. exported over 1.2 million tons of beef, worth about $8.6 billion, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. China was one of the top buyers, making up a big chunk of that market. So, when China rejects 150,000 tons of beef, that's a huge blow. That's 150,000 tons that farmers were counting on selling, and now they're stuck with it. They can't just turn around and sell it somewhere else. Overnight beef is perishable, meaning it can go bad if it's not sold quickly. This rejection doesn't just hurt the big beef companies, it hits small farmers the hardest. Many of these farmers have already been struggling with rising costs, like higher prices for feed, fuel, and labor. Now, they're facing a massive loss of income. Some farmers might even have to sell off their cattle at a loss, or worse, shut down their operations entirely. You might be thinking, okay, this sounds like a big deal for farmers, but how does it affect me? Well, let's talk about that, because this beef battle is going to hit your wallet and your dinner plate. When U.S. farmers can't sell their beef to China, they have to find other places to sell it, often at a lower price. That means they're making less money, which can lead to higher prices for beef here in the U.S. Why? Because farmers and companies will try to make up for their losses by charging more to American consumers. So, that steak or burger you love might cost you a few extra bucks at the grocery store or your favorite restaurant. But it's not just about price, it's also about availability. If the U.S. beef industry takes a big hit, there might be less beef to go around. That could mean fewer options at the store, or even shortages in some areas. And if other countries start rejecting used beef too, the problem gets even worse. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because this beef rejection isn't just a one-time thing, it's part of a much larger battle. The U.S. and China have been locked in a trade war for years, and this is just the latest chapter. And Russia, they're more than happy to step in and take advantage of the situation. This beef deal with China is a big win for them, and it's a sign that Russia is ready to challenge the U.S. on the global stage. So, what's next? For U.S. farmers, things are going to be tough for a while. They'll need to find new markets for their beef, and that's not going to be easy. The government might step in with some support, like subsidies or new trade deals, but that takes time. For China, this move is a power play. They're showing the U.S. that they can hit back hard, and they're also strengthening their ties with Russia. That could lead to a closer partnership between China and Russia, not just in beef, but in other areas like energy, technology, and even military cooperation. And for you, the consumer, keep an eye on beef prices at the store. They might go up in the coming months, so you might want to stock up now if you're a big meat eater. This beef battle is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The world of trade and politics is changing fast, and moves like this show how quickly things can shift. So, what do you think? Are you worried about the impact on U.S. farmers? Or do you think Russia deserves this win? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on stories that matter. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.